So what we're going to take a look at now is lazy loading our related data. And what we're currently doing is when we want to load related data, we're eagerly loading it. We're using the include and then include to eagerly load our data whenever we make this particular request. And what we're going to do is look at an alternative to this, which is lazy loading, which will mean that we can remove these include statements, and whenever we need to return something that requires related data, such as our activity, then we can transparently load this related data automatically. Now there's a few things we need to do to set this up, and the first thing we need to do is install another package for Microsoft.entityframeworkcore.proxies. And let's go to our NuGet package manager, and what we want to add here is Microsoft.entityframeworkcore.proxies, and press return and select this from the list of only one. And then we need to take a bit of care because we want this to be exactly the same as what we're using for our Entity Framework core packages. Now, I know mine is 2.2.4, so please double check which one you're using, otherwise you're going to get a version conflict. And we want to add this to our persistence project because it's related to Entity Framework. And then we get success, and then we can restore. And this works successfully. So do make sure that inside your persistence project, inside the persistence.cs proj, that all of these Entity Framework core packages are at exactly the same version. Otherwise, you're going to get version conflicts. So with that in place, what we need to do then is configure this in our startup class. So let's go to startup. And what we need to do when we add our DB context, we need to add another option to say to use lazy loading proxies. So I'll say opt and use lazy loading proxies. And now this is available for our use. But what we need to do to use this is to tell Entity Framework what our navigation properties are. And the way that we do this is by using the virtual keyword wherever we're using related data. Now inside our activity class, what this means is that we need to add the virtual keywords to our user activities, and also inside our app user we also need to add the virtual keyword here as well. So we'll say virtual iCollection of user activities, and we also need to do the same thing for our navigation properties inside the user activity class. And these are our navigation properties here, our app user and our activities. So once again, we'll just add virtual and do the same for the activity as well. And what this means is that we can go back to our details class and we can remove the include statements. And this means we can also go back to using find async in this case as well. And then we can just specify the request ID. And in our list, this also means that we can remove the include and then include from this as well. And what we should find is that when we go back and test this, that nothing's really changed. If I go back and get the list of activities, then what I'll find is that I've got my list of activities and I also see the related data as well. And I'll just scroll down to where we've got the activity with a user, and that's one right at the bottom, and we can see that we're still getting the attendees loaded inside here with our properties. And if I do the same for activity details and click send, then this works fine as well. So now that we've got our activities and we can return attendees with them, what we'll do next is take a look at how we can provide an attend activity feature and an unattend feature so that other users can attend these different activities. And we'll start to take a look at that next.